Coming out of the NFL, the Las Vegas Raiders are releasing a defensive tackle in Christian Wilkins after just 1 year into that 5-year deal of $110 million that they gave him not too long ago. He suffered a season-ending foot injury in Week 5 of last season, and the Raiders voided the final $35.5 million contract guaranteed money for him due to how he treated the rehab process, which led to Wilkins to file a grievance with the Players Union. So that's what happened with him, but the team releasing a statement on the release of Wilkins saying, and quote, "We have decided that in the best interest of the organization to move on from Christian Wilkins, and he has been informed of his release from the team. This franchise has a commitment to excellence on and off the field with no clear path or plan for future return to play from Christian. This transaction is necessary for the entire organization to move forward and prepare for the new season." Some strong words there from Vegas, but joining me now, my guy, NFL insider Ran Carthon, who spent many years in a front office. And Ran, I have to ask you, get your initial reaction to the Raiders' move here with Wilkins.
I mean, initially it's a shock just because of the impactful player that he can be when he's available and he's on the field. And you know, if you know anything about a Pete Carroll defense, it's built up front. And so he likes to have those, guys that can get off the ball and attack. And Christian Wilkins is very much that. So my initial reaction, I was shocked and couldn't believe it. I had to check a couple sources just to make sure it was real and I didn't end up on somebody's parody account.
Look, when it comes to these injuries too, and you've probably been around these situations, but how much say does a player have over this in terms of their medical decisions when it comes to something like this?
I mean, they have all to say, right? Because it's their body. It's their body, and they're the player. We need them on the field. And so it's one of those deals where the player gets a diagnosis of what it is, and then from there, the medical teams will work together. The independent doctor, the team doctor, they will all work together to try to find out what's the best prognosis for the player and how to attack it. But the player 100% has full control and say over their bodies and whether they get surgery or not.
On the flip side, the team, in terms of the say and what happens, the next step, what happens with that?
So from a team perspective, we would just have the conversation of, how soon can we get this rectified, right? What's in the best interest of the player? What's in the best interest of the organization? Does the player need surgery? Is there something he can play through? And then we'll adjust from there. Trust me, there are tons of players in the league right now that will probably need some form of surgery, but they're able to play through it. I mean, if you look at Fred Warner last year, Fred Warner played probably the last 10 games of last season with a fractured ankle, but it was a decision he made along with the 49ers medical staff that it was something he could play through.
If you're the Raiders, you already touched on it. You're talking about a dominant D tackle that we saw, of course, in his days in Miami, obviously hampered by injuries with the Raiders last year. What's their next direction? I'm assuming that obviously you would have somebody in-house, but you want to look outside the house as well as camp kind of gets started here.
And trust me, this is a pro department's worst nightmare to come into you lose a high impact player and now you have to go and try to find the next guy with what's available on the street. If you look at it, most teams around the league right now are at their 90-man max on the roster. So do the math, 90 times 32, whatever that math is. God only made so many good football players. God only made so many Christian Wilkins. So it's what's available to you on the street. Now, here's what they're going to have at their disposal. At the end of this process, I think they picked 6th in the draft this past year, so they'll be 6th in the claimant order. So there'll be players that come available at the end of the preseason that they'll be well positioned to claim with the 6th pick in the claimant order. But then you could also see them trade for a guy, later in the process.
You know this better than anybody around here. Anything can happen. Camp just kind of gets up ramping the closer we get to training camp. As always, my guy Ran Carthon.
All right, Cowboys Nation. What if I told you that Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys are actively working behind the scenes to land one of the best defensive tackles in football? Yeah, I'm talking about Christian Wilkins, the same Christian Wilkins who signed a $110 million deal just last year with the Raiders and was just shockingly released. And here's the kicker, Dallas is in on him. Sources close to the situation say the Cowboys have already reached out to Wilkins' reps and are trying to put together a deal. This would be a monster addition for Dan Quinn's new look defense. So buckle up, cause I'm breaking down the details of his release, why Dallas wants him, how he'd fit in our system, and what kind of contract we'd need to put on the table to make it happen. Let's get into the facts. The Las Vegas Raiders released Christian Wilkins after just 5 games with the team. 5. He signed a 4-year, $110 million contract in 2024, and they cut ties after a short injury-plagued stint. In those 5 games, 2 sacks, 17 total tackles, and multiple pressures despite being banged up. But let's not forget what made Wilkins a $100 million man in the first place. In 2023, with the Miami Dolphins, he racked up 9 sacks, 65 tackles, and was ranked as one of the top interior disruptors in the NFL by PFF. This dude isn't just a space eater. He's explosive, disciplined, and plays with a motor that never quits. And now he's a free agent. And guess who's interested? Your Dallas Cowboys. Now, here's where things get juicy. While national outlets are floating names like the Patriots or the Bears, my sources say the Cowboys have already initiated contact with Wilkins' agent. We're not just monitoring, though we're negotiating. And it makes total sense. We lost Jonathan Hankins. We've got some question marks next to Osa Odigizua and Maisie Smith, who's still developing. Dan Quinn loves pressure from the interior, and Wilkins brings exactly that. Just imagine this D-line. Micah Parsons coming off the edge, DeMarcus Lawrence crashing the outside, and Christian Wilkins collapsing the pocket from the middle. Bro, quarterbacks in the NFC would be waking up in cold sweats. That front would be a problem. Let's talk numbers. Wilkins was making over $27 million per year on his last deal, but because of the injury and all the drama with Vegas trying to void parts of that contract, his market might be a little softer than expected. This is the kind of deal that could make sense for the Cowboys. Proposed contract, 2 years, $44 million, with $30 million guaranteed, includes a team option for year 3. That gives Wilkins security and gives Dallas flexibility if things don't work out, or if he turns out to be an all-pro and earns a bigger extension. We've still got cap room, especially with Zach Martin likely nearing retirement and Dak's restructure on the table. And if Jerry really is going all in this year, this is the move you make. With Wilkins on board, Dan Quinn can unleash hell on offenses. He brings elite, run-stuffing quickness off the snap, veteran leadership, and he's one of the most consistent tacklers at the position. He's a guy that doesn't just eat blocks, he beats them. PFF had him graded as the number 3 DT versus the run in 2023. You put that next to Parsons, D-Law, and Fowler Jr. This isn't just a playoff D, this is a Super Bowl defense. But I want to know what you think, Cowboys Nation. Should the Cowboys sign Christian Wilkins right now? What would you offer him? And would you give him a multi-year deal? Would this make our D-line the best in the NFL? Drop your takes in the comments. I'm diving in there with y'all all day long. And if you're fired up about this move, smash that like button right now. If you're new to the channel, hit subscribe to stay locked in with all the biggest Cowboys rumors and news. And of course, share this video with your crew. Let them know the Cowboys are about to drop a bomb on free agency.